Hey guys, Britt here. Welcome to End Times Bible Prophecy. Today we're going to talk about a number of headlines, both directly and indirectly related to Bible prophecy. So let's dive right in. The first story here is from CNBC. It says OPEC to cut oil production by 2 million barrels per day to shore up prices, defying U.S. pressure. A group of some of the world's most powerful oil producers on Wednesday agreed to impose deep output cuts, seeking to spur a recovery in crude prices despite calls from the U.S. to pump more to help the global economy. OPEC and non-OPEC allies, a group often referred to as OPEC Plus, decided at their first face-to-face gathering in Vienna since 2020 to reduce production by 2 million barrels per day from November. Guys, this is a big deal. Right now, the Biden administration in the United States is releasing over 1 million barrels of oil per day from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. They've been doing that since March to try to push down retail gasoline prices. They can't do that forever. And over the request of the Biden administration, Saudi Arabia in particular went along with this OPEC cut of 2 million barrels per day. So not only does that completely nullify that million barrels per day that's being released by the Biden administration, but they can't do that forever. Odds are they'll probably do that through the U.S. midterm elections in about a month from now, but then they'll stop that. And so we're going to end up with effectively about a 3 million barrel per day cut. And we went over this prior. There are some people that believe that sanctions instituted against Russia in December are going to lead to even more barrels per day being lost from global daily capacity or production. And so we're going to see an oil shock toward the end of the year. The energy crisis that's hitting the world and has been hitting the world in recent months and over the past year isn't going to get better anytime soon. It's probably going to start to get a little bit worse. And on that note, we'll look at what's going on in Europe, where things continue to deteriorate. This is from Forbes. It says AdBlue shortage could bring trucking industry to a screeching halt. And we had a similar problem like this in Australia at the beginning of the year, and that was averted. That, I believe, was a problem with the supply chain from China. This is a problem with a lack of energy, so it's a much more enduring problem that may not have a solution. It says, most people might not be familiar with the importance of AdBlue, the liquid used in diesel vehicles to remove nitrogen oxides from exhaust gas. However, it may soon be capturing more headlines as an AdBlue shortage could bring supply chains to a standstill, triggering an unwanted butterfly effect. Since September 2015, all new vehicles sold in Europe can no longer be driven without AdBlue, and according to the European Manufacturers Association, sales of diesel-powered commercial vehicles in the European Union have increased and account for 95.8% of the market. Unfortunately, skyrocketing energy prices are forcing more and more manufacturers to stop production of AdBlue, leading to a shortage. Germany's SKW Piersteritz, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, forgive me, says recently stopped production to avoid further losses and is about to sell off its remaining AdBlue inventories. We are running dry. We are emptying our inventories because we are no longer producing, a spokesperson said. The consequences are serious and could hit the logistics sector very hard, in addition to many other industries down the supply chain. Without AdBlue, most trucks are at a standstill, which means products can't be delivered to stores, leaving supermarket shelves empty. And when trucks stop running, everything collapses and the entire economy comes to a screeching halt. That probably should have been the lead paragraph, the lead headline in this story. We went over this at the beginning of the year in the newsletter because this was a problem in Australia. I want to point out that AdBlue is only necessary because the government, These governments around the world mandated this as part of their green energy initiatives. So the same reason we're in this energy crisis now, bad government policy that has stopped exploration and production of fossil fuels, is the same problem that's going to hit here, and that this AdBlue, diesel trucks can't run without it because they were forced by the government to be outfitted in such a way that they had to use the AdBlue to stop emissions. And now they may run out of the AdBlue and all the trucks would come to a standstill without AdBlue. And this could be a potential problem for Europe. It's only getting worse and worse. This energy crisis in Europe, we're only in the beginning stages of it because we've been talking about winter and talking about winter for a long, long time. But we haven't gotten there yet. And as we do, we see more and more industries shutting down production of key elements, critical parts. It's going to cripple the supply chain and cripple the European economy, and I believe spill over into a global depression. So along those lines, we see more of this. We see, this is from Euro Weekly News. It says one of Northern Europe's largest vegetable brands, Hak, to shut down entire production for 6 weeks. Hak, one of the largest vegetable brands in Northern Europe, is set to shut down its entire production for 6 weeks due to high energy costs, as reported on Monday. The Dutch vegetable and pulses company Hak is set to temporarily halt its production for 6 weeks from January due to energy costs. With current energy prices, it's not feasible to continue production in winter, the company said. It's not just the high price, but also the uncertainty. Today, it's €2 for a cubic meter of gas. It has also been €3 at times. What will it be in January or February? We don't know. So to be on the safe side, we will stay closed then. So this isn't an immediate closure. This is something they're going to institute at the beginning of the new year when they believe that gas prices will be elevated because that will be the middle of winter in Europe. They say this will not affect their food getting on the shelves. However, it will definitely affect the employment of the people who work here that won't have work for 6 weeks. And the key question is, what if the energy prices are higher than anticipated at the end of those 6 weeks? It's not really stated in this article that, well, after 6 weeks we're definitely opening up. Well, what if the energy prices are higher than they were to start January? Are they going to open back up, or are they going to remain closed? Those are questions we don't have answers to yet. But this continues on. This is from Yahoo Finance. It says, Dutch seed plant grower Planties to close due to energy cost. Now, this isn't a temporary closure in January. This is a permanent closure. It says, Planties, a large Dutch grower of seed potatoes and other seed plants, on Thursday said it intends to close, citing high energy and rising labor costs. The company, which has 400 workers on 50 hectares of greenhouse farms and posted sales of €68.7 million, said it would seek an orderly wind down. Planties' financial buffers are not sufficient to continue bearing these developments, the company said. In a statement, important financial stakeholders, including our bank and shareholders, see no room for a compromise. The firm is the most prominent among Dutch greenhouses to announce its closure, though many are skipping planting for the winter season or taking other measures to stay afloat. So Planties is just outright closing. But it says here there are other greenhouse companies that are growing plants, growing food in the winter, that are just they're going to skip the planting season this year. Well, that means that food will not be produced. And we already know we are heading into a food crisis at the end of this year. It's just getting worse. We've also seen fertilizer production halve in Europe so far. 50% of the fertilizer production that was ongoing 2 months ago has been cut off because of these rising energy costs. So the food crisis that was already coming at the end of this year and well into 2023, it's going to get worse. Things continue to deteriorate in Europe. This is from Zero Hedge. It says Polish households burn trash to stay warm as sanctions on Russia backfire. Poland temporarily suspended air quality controls. Let me pause this so that it's not running in the background. Temporarily suspended air quality controls so people can burn coal for heating homes through next April to ease the worst energy crisis in a generation. I'd say probably in 2 generations. I mean, I think you have to go back to World War II when the whole continent's a pile of rubble to find an energy crisis this bad. It says, while Polish households have increased demand for coal and wood to offset the soaring energy cost of natural gas and electricity, some people are burning trash to stay warm. Keep in mind, guys, we aren't into the heart of winter yet. It's early October. Bloomberg spoke with one Polish resident by the name of Paulina Merskowska, hopefully I pronounced that right, who said she's already noticed people burning trash to heat their homes as a shortage of the natural gas worsens and the cost of living spirals out of control. It's so bad this season that you can smell trash burning every day, which is completely new. Rarely can you smell a regular fuel. It's scary to think what happens when it really gets cold. Winter is quickly approaching as temperatures slide across the Central European country, indicating the heating season is underway. And this is how bad things are in Poland, thanks to the Russian invasion of Ukraine disrupting energy markets and backfiring of Western sanctions against Moscow. Go on, it says, new forecast from the European Center for Medium-Range Weather Forecasts show Europe could be headed for a frigid winter. People are scrambling for coal and firewood while supplies are running out. People are scared and they're collecting anything that can be used for burning. And the panic for trash is already being seen around the country, as one local mayor told local news TVN24, we're seeing a significant drop in garbage collection, especially when it comes to materials that could, at least in theory, be suitable for burning, such as paper, cardboard, and packaging. So guys, we have businesses shutting down. We have people burning trash to stay warm. We have food and future food supplies not even being planted. How is this conducive to a modern economy? It's not. Europe is dying. It's being sent back to the 19th century. And this type of environment, how long are people going to tolerate this before they demand new leadership? And how long before, the demagogues come out of the woodwork and make promises to people? I don't see how the current leadership can hold on as we go into this winter. So this is a very dangerous time. Again, this could lead to the rise of dictatorship and tyranny. We're going to have to wait and see how this all unfolds, but with the Nord Stream pipelines offline, I don't know how the energy gets to Europe. What happens if the gas that's in storage, the natural gas, runs out before the end of the winter? What are people going to do? The governments, they're in quite a bind on how they keep people from freezing to death without the economies completely shutting down. And this is going to create a crisis like they haven't had since World War II in Europe. That's simply put, that's what's going to happen. This is going to be the biggest crisis in Europe since World War II. So what will that mean? We'll see. Speaking of dictatorship, we have this story from CBS News that says Iran protests to enter third week despite internet restrictions and a heavy crackdown. Anti-government protests have entered their third week in Iran despite severe internet restrictions and a heavy crackdown that human rights groups said has killed dozens. Videos posted on social media appeared to show protests in cities across Iran on Friday night and Saturday, with students at several universities shouting chants such as "Death to the Dictator." Other forms of civil disobedience, such as residents chanting from rooftops, drivers honking their horns in unison, and public figures speaking out for the demonstrators, have emerged. So here we have massive ongoing protests in Iran. This has been going on for several weeks now. It may be a sign that the leadership in Iran has lost control. We're going to have to wait and see. What does that mean? That could have huge implications for Bible prophecy, because as we've been seeing the Gog of Magog alliance come together, Iran is an integral part of that. We've seen the current leadership in Iran building ties with Russia. They inked a natural gas deal recently, and they're trying to put together this OPEC of natural gas nations. You know, there's a lot in the works. What could all of this mean if the government in Iran falls? What replaces it? So there's no way we can definitively tie any of this to prophecy right now, but we're going to have to wait and see. We really want to keep an eye on this and which way it goes, because this could have major implications regarding what happens. But for right now, we just have to wait and see. So on that note, we have this tweet from Justin Trudeau. It says, "Tonight through Tuesday night, buildings on Parliament Hill will be illuminated in the colors of the Iranian flag. We are standing in solidarity with women and others, both in Iran and around the world, who are protesting peacefully for their human rights, and we always will." Right? How kind of Mr. Trudeau to stand in solidarity with those peacefully protesting for their human rights. Of course, you know, in other countries, he's definitely stands in solidarity. But these people were in Canada. I don't know. And I was going to say if the Iranians started honking their horns, but the story told us that they were honking their horns. So apparently he's not against Iranians honking their horns as part of peaceful protest. So, guys, again, the world is filled with bad news, but we can be joyful because Jesus is coming back. And when he does, clowns like Justin Trudeau will no longer be in power. This guy ain't going to be in power forever. One day he's going to be gone, and Jesus is going to be our ruler. So let that be the joy in your heart for today. Justin Trudeau is going to be gone one day. So, guys, what do you think about all this? Leave your comments below. Make sure to like and share this. And God willing, I'll see you on Monday. Bye. If you want to learn more about the end times and Bible prophecy, make sure to sign up for my free monthly newsletter and get your copy of my free ebook, 7 Signs of the End Times. Just follow the link in the description to get your free book. Also, make sure to check out all of my books. Just look up Britt on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Apple iBooks, Google Books, Kobo, or anywhere books are sold. Thanks for watching today, and until next time, keep your eyes fixed on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith.